Good afternoon, as it is here. It's getting on a bit now in the afternoon, but we're starting I'm starting my next job here at Hammond's Upholstering. So let's take a walk through and see what's going on. Okay, we've got some chairs underneath there to go back. There's a stool that goes with it to the customer. They're going to be away till the middle of the month, unfortunately. These cushions and this chair are being collected tomorrow morning, customers back. These, I'm waiting on fabric and cushions for these two chairs. And then we're on with this sofa over here. It's not a bad looking thing. It's a Parker Knoll sofa. It's got fibre seat fills and fibre back fills. The backs are stitched on. It's going to be done in this Christine Munro check. Hopefully you can see that there. Okay, so it's going to be done in that. The customer has specified some very firm, thick seat cushion fills. 6 inches. They're going to be very thick and very firm, but I've done their wing chairs previously for them and they wanted those fills in them and they're happy with them, so they should be happy with this. The back fills, or the back cushions, 1, 2, 3, the back cushions, we're going to be changing them to reversible. Currently they stitch on, or zip, sorry, onto the chair, which means that they're not reversible. So if you damage them, you can't just spin them around like I've just done. Also, the fact that we're changing this seat to 6-inch fill, it means that the zip locations are no longer going to line up as well. So we're going to have to modify these fills to suit the back fills. I'm tempted to leave sewing them and doing anything with the back fills until I've got the seat fills in. Then I can measure everything and make sure we get the same sort of height as it is currently. I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to be restuffing the back fills as well, but I need to get the seat fills on order as they're going to be foam now, not fibre fills, which these are. So that's about it. We've got these two cushions here, window seat cushions. I'm waiting on the remainder of the fabric to be able to do that. Monday morning, we're collecting a chair, recover wing chair. But in the meantime, I'm going to start ripping this up. So I'll get this ripped up and we'll come back to you when that's done. That will probably be Monday now, once I've collected the wing chair as well. So you'll get to see this ripped up. I'll make up my mind at that point what job I'm going to be doing first, whether it's going to be the wing chair I'm picking up or this, but in the meantime I need to get the cushions on order for this. So there's bits and pieces going on here at Hammond's Upholstery. Tacker's in the van. Let's go and see if he's willing to talk to us. He's been for his walk, so he's in his happy place now. Let's see if he's in here. Yeah, say hello for the people. Oh no, he's tired. He's getting on a bit now. He's getting lazier in his old age. I can't afford to be lazy in my old age. So in the meantime, I'll be back very soon. This sofa will be ripped up at that point. I will show you if I find anything interesting, but I'm expecting this to be straightforward, and we'll be back to you very soon. Okay, cheerio. So I'm back. The sofa's ripped up, as you can see over my shoulder. I'm going to give you a rundown on what I've discovered with this sofa, and possibly it's not critiquing it's where I think improvements could be made. And a lot of the times that's due to cost, even though this is a premium brand being Parker Knoll. There's still some things that they could do to improve the structure of the frame from an upholstery point of view, a longevity point of view, etc. If I was manufacturing a frame. So anyway, as you can see, I'm a bit dusty. Sorry about that. But there you go. Spin you around and take you for a little walk around and see what we find. Okay, right, so general first impressions, well constructed piece of furniture. But as always, I can see where times have changed, products have changed, materials have changed, and potentially where some savings have been made, which have an effect on the overall quality, more to the point of the longevity of this product. So initially, as you can see, I've got the back foam stripped off and the seat foam stripped off. The arms and the wings can stay on. Arms, wings can stay on. Let's start with the arms and wings. Great, no issues there, still maintaining their shape and comfort, so that's good. The foam, they haven't scrimped on the quality of the foam there. Then we come to the backs. We've got back webbing. This back webbing that they use is really, well, there's enough of them in there. The back webbing could be better quality to last a bit longer, I feel. They're relying heavily on the back cushions to give the support and comfort, but you know, this is, you know, it's not giving any real support. And secondly, there was no canvas. I haven't taken the canvas off. There was no canvas on the back. It just had the foam, which you can just about see through there, the white foam, or yellow as it is now. So it would have been nice to see a canvas on the back. The seat, it's a fish mouth sprung seat, so you get this sprung edge on it. I'm not a big fan of these sprung edges. There's something else that goes wrong, and they do go wrong. Whereas if you had a solid rail here with the springs, you're not really going to notice the comfort difference to be had from this unless you sit down very heavily on the front edge. Again, great spring unit from Wade Springs here in the UK. But it was missing a canvas again. They have used a bonded fibre, which is this white stuff over here. This is a bonded fibre, so they obviously deeming that to be adequate enough to not put a canvas on it. Okay, fair enough. Whilst we're with the seat, let's stay with the seat. The seat rail on the back here, albeit it's got these braces front to back, you can see it's bending. It's trying to pull away from the frame. They've put some additional screws in here, so they've obviously, whilst we're talking about screws are on structural points where they feel that there's a weakness or potential weakness, so there's not many screws in this. It's lots of glue here, you can see the glue, and lots of staples, but we'll get to that in a minute. This rail, if it was turned through 90 degrees, it would bend less going from the front of the seat to the back, the springs pulling the tension in it. But also, in that respect, you're lacking the rigidity of going up and down. This rail could have been a thicker rail, better support. It's breaking into the, because this is just MDF here, and you can see that it's pulling into the MDF and damaging that. So there you go. But other than that, it's not bad. It's not the worst one I've seen. The top rail is slightly bowed. Again, they've used the same timber for the top rail as for this support rail. Again, this is my concern, point of weakness. So overall, other than that, the fact that they've used a lot of MDF now rather than wood, and when they're stapling into the end of the MDF, it's very easy to pull those staples out. It's okay when they go into the face side, but when they're fired into the end grain in certain places, certainly on these outside side rails, it's a weak point. The staples can come out relatively easy. You can see the face in here, so it's good to see that, and I understand the reason why they're using it. But from yes, improvements could be made, but whether there's a cost implication with any of that, not huge cost implication, but nevertheless cost implication. And bearing in mind this sofa is 10 years old, so it's done well. It's done well. So that's it ripped up. I am going to do the back cushions as a single cushion. Let me show you, rather than these upper and lower cushions. I'm going to do them as a single cushion because the customers requested a very thick seat cushion, very firm seat cushion as well. So there we have it. Oh yes, before we end this segment, here's the facings, cardboard facings with facing clips. I managed to get most of them in square. Some of them have gone in a bit wonky. And here's the wings, outside wings. This one's inside out, but they go in there, and those pins locate on the inside. You can see the holes there. So that's how they've done that with them. So all in all, Parker Knoll, good quality. As always, little room for improvement, but this sofa's lasted 10 years and it's going to last another 10 years quite happily once it's been recovered. So I need to get on with cutting some fabrics and some sewing, and I'll come back to you when I'm ready to start covering this in the blue check, so it'll be very interesting. So shouldn't be too long. It's for you 2 seconds, for me it's now coming up to the weekend, so we'll be back on Monday. But like I say, I've got to pick up a wing chair on Monday, so hopefully get some cutting done Monday afternoon, but back on Tuesday. So it'll probably be Tuesday when I'm back to you. Back soon. Okay, as I'm sure you can see over my shoulder here, this sofa is ripped up, you saw that, but I've now got the fabric cut for it, or most of it should I say. I've got the arms cut, the inside back, the seat, outside back. The only thing I haven't got cut is the outside wings and facings, but those will be cut out of salvage, I think, off the outside arms, so that's why they're not being cut. If I have to cut them, I have to cut them, as simple as that. So let's spin you around. I've done one arm. Where is it? There it is. I've done one arm. You can join me and get on with the other arm, and then we'll see how it goes as normal. The fabric is quite nice to work with, albeit it frays a lot. So I think with the cushions, when I sew them, unfortunately, it's going to be a longer process because I'm going to have to overlock them. But there you go. So let's put the camera up, and you can join me whilst I get on with this arm over my shoulder here. And there you go. Let's get this arm on then. I've done one, it's gone very well. The fabric is quite forgiving. But but like I say, with the cushions it frays quite a lot. It's a thick fabric. So that's just a spray of silicone spray, because this fabric's very grippy. It's an odd thing to say maybe, but it is. It grips everything and it will tear the Lux Bond rather than sliding over it. So a little bit of silicone spray helps it along. So as always, lay the fabric on, get it into position. At this point I can see that everything's going to be okay, check my stitching and everything like that. So we matched the white stripe on the wing to the arm, albeit I don't think it's really going to be seen by the time it's upholstered. You're not really going to see that part of the sofa because of the back cushions, but I know it's done. A couple of staples in there to get that into position. I thought somebody turned up at the workshop then. No. Okay, so a couple of staples there, holding it on the back. Pull the stitching around the wing so it's not floating, so it's actually touching the wing. And a staple or two there to hold that in. So with these stripes we're trying to keep them nice and straight and horizontal, but we've also got to put enough tension in it to work properly. So I'm now going to make a cut to go down the side of the seat. So I'm going to pull the centre of the top of the arm, and I'm trying to get these white lines. See, you can see here on the side of the arm, I've got one on the top of the arm here. I'm trying to maintain them to the centre. I'm going to put a temporary staple in that so it just holds it. And now I'm going to pull down here. Again, I want to try and keep these stripes horizontal, but also getting enough tension in them. So you sort of pull the lines wonky to start with, but then by the time you've pulled everything front to back, side to side, up and down, you straighten them back up again. In theory. Fortunately, this fabric, like I say, is a nice fabric to work with. Okay. So, upholstery time, how long would it take me to do this sofa? I get asked this a lot, and if you break it down into its component parts, I suppose, first off you've got the ripping up of the sofa, removing of the old fabric basically. Then you've got preparation for it to be upholstered, whether that's foam repairs, frame repairs, spring repairs, webbing, etc. Then you've got to cut and sew your fabrics that are going on. Then you've got, once you've done that, the actual upholstery part of it, which is what I'm on with now, obviously. Then you've got, or the order that I choose to do it in is do the cushions. Sorry about that, had a customer arrived and, well, there you go, no excuses, had a customer arrive, so I needed to sort them out. So we were on with these arms. So, yes, we need to make sure we get the same amount of pleats in the front of each arm. There's 5 in there. Cut the salvage off as I go, so we reduce the amount of lumps and bumps. Pleat number 2. Three. So there's no specific amount of pleats. They can be stylised. You can have more or less pleats in, I suppose. But I just sort of go with the first arm, how that dictates its own number of pleats, the fabric, and then we just do the 2 of them the same. The same with the wings. The wings have a little pleat in the front of them. In that case they've got 3 on each. Try and keep the pleats in the same position on each wing, and the arms as well. Keep it all looking mirror image uniform. So last pleat, going to cut some of that out, there's too much fabric in there. That's better. Pleat number 5. Okay, so that's pretty much both arms on. The arms aren't pulled off at the bottom just yet. I need to lay the sofa on its back, and they're not pulled off on the outside arms, because again I'll do that when I'm putting the outside arm on itself. So next job on these is the backs. So whilst I've got it laying on its back, I'm going to canvas it and then put the original foam back in. These webbings are okay, they're loose, but they've got, yeah, we're putting a canvas on it, whereas it didn't have a canvas on originally, so the canvas is going to give some stability to it. So we just need to lay this on its back. Whilst it's on its back, I can finish off the bottom of the arms, and I can get on with doing the back. So let's just pick it up, spin it round, and lay it back. These don't get any lighter as you get older. Okay. Okay. So there we have it. Let's just move it back a little bit to try and get it better in shot. Right. So I'll go round, staple off the bottom of the arms, and then we're ready for the next stage of this sofa. Like I say, is the back. Sometimes it can be the seat. Depends on how the sofa is manufactured. Cut off the salvage as I go. I like to keep things neat, as I'm sure you know by now, if you've been following the channel. Hopefully you're all subscribed. I only say that because every YouTube channel I watch, they're always saying it, so I'll say it as well. Certainly not monetized, but it's nice to see people taking an interest in what I do here. So that's the bottom of the arms pulled off. Again, I didn't want to pull too much because it'll make these lines, these check designs, wavy. So it's time for me to go and walk the dog. He's sat in the van, being his grumpy, miserable, unsociable self, but he's happy in there. He won't come in and sit with me. Go and take him for a walk, come back after lunch. We'll be getting on with these, with this back. Okay, so I'll be back very soon. Okay, right. So let's get on with this. Couple of straps here, get some tension in them. So this is the back. If you look at inside back of the sofa, this is where you theoretically the back comes up to the arms and wings. So this strap needs to be nice and tight up against here, and tight because it supports that fabric or the inside back as it goes through there. So like I said, we're going to use a canvas on this. This will give this sofa a bit more support. So we have a fabric remnants here that I'm just going to use as a canvas. Before I put the original foam back on to the back. So, as I said earlier in the video, we're changing the design at the back of this sofa for a couple of reasons. To update it a little bit, instead of having the 6 cushions in the back, an upper and lower cushion, if you divide it in 3, we're just having a single cushion, 3 individual cushions in the back. They're going to be box cushions, similar to what they had. They were box cushions, but they're going to be full height, and they're going to be reversible, more importantly. So if you damage one side, you can just turn the cushion over, theoretically. It's a more practical take on it. There isn't really anything to be gained how they'd done it originally, other than saving some fabric usage. So pulling the fabric reasonably tight. Cut off the salvage, fold it back, staple it down, and then we're ready to put the original foam back on. Don't need to go overboard with the inside back, i.e. stuffing, etc., because it's got the cushions going into it. So the only reason for the foam on there is to give it a bit of a better touch feel. I've put my scissors down. Not my large scissors, my small work scissors. It's what I was referring to. Right, so tuck that canvas down the side. So staple the fabric out the way. And now this is giving us some support on the back, or additional support. Same this end. I'm currently waiting for the cushions to come into me, the fills, the back fills and the seat fills. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be here until next week. But in the meantime, I'll do as much as I can on this sofa. I can get the sofa upholstered. I can get the cushions, covers cut and sewn. Ready for the fills when they arrive. Theoretically, it should be just a case of filling them. I may, as of yet, I haven't quite made my mind up. I may not cut and sew the back cushions until I've got the seat cushions in, because, well, we're modifying it, we're changing the design. So I don't want to waste my time cutting and sewing the cushions if they're going to be wrong. Once the seat cushions are in, I can take some secondary measurements just to confirm my measurements before I do cut it, but we'll see how it goes. They should be relatively straightforward cushions, if I'm honest, anyway, to cut, because the limiting factor is the width and the height. So long as I take the 6 inches, so it is 6-inch fills, I think, on memory anyway, off of this height here, that will give me the height of the cushions need to be. So we'll see how we get on with time anyway. Right, so let's find the halfway mark for the back. And then we will need to mark the fabric halfway, because we do have 2 joins that we want to be the same equal distance from the ends. Even though they're not really going to be seen because they have the cushions in front of them. But I will know, and you will know as well at this point if they're not. So there you go. Right. Inside back fabric. So we're just the easiest way to find the centre is there. So it's quite interesting. The centre of the fabric is on what you would automatically think looking at the pattern. The pattern is not central to the joins. So I will be doing, this is where let me get a ruler so I can show you this particular pattern. The way it is on the roll is off centre. This is the centre line here, and you would automatically think, looking at the fabric, it's either going to be any of these 3. It'd either be the centre of the blue stripe with the white in it, which is here, or the centre of the darker stripe. But what it actually is on the roll is that line there, and that's to aid putting the joins into the fabric. So what I've got to decide at this point is what I'm going to use as the centre of the pattern, because my cushions are all going to have to match that. And the same with the seat as well. The joins on the seat are going to be slightly off centre because I've got to move this across, and these are going to be slightly off centre again, because I don't really think you would automatically look at this fabric and see this brown line here as the centre. You're going to think it's either this or this. What's it to be? The white stripes in the centre, or the brown stripes in the centre that takes it here and here? What do you think? It's personal preference at this point, but your eye, for me, it's going to be this white line here, because that is what my eye is most drawn to, is the white cross section. So we're going to use that as our centre mark. Place it on, make sure I've got enough fabric at the top. Line it up. And we try and keep these lines, so I'm using this line on the corner, on the top edge of this back, to keep it straight. Okay, so let's just tuck that through the back, Hope you can see that. I'm just compressing the springs a bit so I can get the fabric through. Okay. Sorry, I got my back to you. Wait for a second, I'll turn around. So that's the fabric laid on. If I've done a half decent job on the pattern matching, you're not going to see the joins anyway. I'll just move the camera and show you the pattern match and you'll have a better idea of what I'm on about. Excuse me. Right, so here we go. Here's the pattern, and along this line here is the join in the fabric. And here it is on this side. So it's quite hard to see. So I don't think it's really an issue. We'll get this stripe through the center. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to get this back in. It's the same process with the seat. I'm going to canvas that, put the foam back on, put the fabric on it. So then you don't really need to see me repeating that again. The outside back. So then that leaves the outside arms, the outside wings, outside back. So I'll come back to you shortly when I'm on with them. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so the sofa's upside down now. As you can see, the inside back and the seat is done. You saw me do the inside back. The seat is basically the same thing again. I'm on with the outside arms, these bits here, and then the outside back, and then I'll be doing the facings before the bottom cloth goes on. So that's the order now. I've done one outside arm, so I'll spin you around and show you that. There's one. Oh, and there's the outside wings, by the way. I'll show the outside wing from this side. There's one outside wing. So that was the cardboard template covered, and we've got the stripes to match the best we can. Certainly through here and around the arm here. The same on the other side. And we're doing the same with the outside arm. We're getting this stripe here to match. So let me put the camera up and you can watch me do the outside arm. Arm time. Let's get the fabric, get the outside arm done, and then I can get the sofa onto the floor to do the outside back. Right, so let's get the pattern matched up. Okay, nicely. So staple at the front, one at the back, oh, and I run out of staples. It always happens when you've just got something pulled just where you want it to be. I don't know. An odd one, that. So cardboard back tacking strip. You've seen me use this before. So we get a nice clean straight edge. I'm just going to cut the corner off because that can get quite sharp there. And that will poke through this fabric because it's got a very loose weave, this fabric. Like I said to you, I'm going to have to overlock the cushions, which is quite frankly a bit of an annoyance. but I need to do it because otherwise the fabric is going to fray and eventually the cushions are going to disintegrate. Especially if the customer takes the covers off and washes them. Right, so I'm stapling along the edge of that cardboard. The point of the cardboard is to give myself a nice straight line, and I don't have to get the staples right on that edge for it to work. The cardboard acts as the edge. Bit of 1/4 inch foam along the edges. This sofa just had a little bit of Lux Bond on it, so this is an upgrade, certainly. Pull this up square. Now the edge of this sofa has got a serpentine edge to it, so it may look like the line is not horizontal because of that. Again, looking to keep these lines nice and horizontal. Cut the salvage off because we don't want it interfering with the threaded holes for the legs. This will get stapled off when I do the front edge or the facing, sorry, on this particular sofa. Back. Folding the back, bring it round the outside back of the sofa, taking it as far in as I can to give myself the scope when that may be needed when I come to doing the outside back. There you go. Trim that salvage off. Right, so outside back, facings and bottom cloth to go. So I just need to drop this onto the floor now. So let's do that. My step may come in handy. Put some blankets onto the floor, just so we're not putting nicely, freshly upholstered furniture onto what could be a mucky floor. I'm not saying it's a mucky floor. It's got scraps of fabric on it, but it doesn't make it mucky. But we're not running that risk. So there's a knack to this. There you go. Just like that. and my box goes under the back to act as a prop. But it's sitting on the facings anyway. It will fall over. So there you can see the underside of the sofa. You can see the springs and the canvas that it didn't have. That's adding support now that it never had, which is good. So we're getting there. Like I say, outside back to go, facings, bottom cloth. Then that's as far as I can get with, well, that's the carcass done, should I say. Then it just leaves the cushions to be cut, sewn and filled for it. Haven't got the fills, but I can try and do as much as I can with the covers. So, but that's going to be a job for the morning. I've had enough for today, so I'll see you all in the morning. Bye bye for now. Okay, on with this outside back. It should be straightforward enough. Outside back is cut here. We'll use the top of the inside back as our guide to the centre line. I'm going to mark, when I can find a tape measure, the centre of the bottom rail, just so we keep that line nice and square, horizontal, no, vertical even. So that's our centre. Right. Okay. So the same as the inside back and the seat and so on, the actual stitch joint is going to be slightly off centre because of the reason I explained earlier to you. So, but the joint is very well matched, so it shouldn't cause any issues. So we try and keep these lines matched up. They may or may not deviate a little bit from each other, just purely because of the weave on the fabric. But I'll try my best to keep them matched right the way across the back. It's just gone out a little bit there. Fortunately, I've not had to explain that to any customers in the past. I think they pretty much work it out for themselves, that the weave on the fabric can be tighter in some parts of the fabric than others, and that can create a deviation with stripes and checks and things like that that can't really be adjusted. But that's not bad, that one. So again, with a cardboard back tacking strip along the top edge, cut off the excess. Just a few staples along the top edge to hold it whilst I finish stapling it off. So let's try and move the camera so I can show you a close-up of what I'm doing. Okay, hopefully the camera's not going to jump around too much. And I'm at Staples. So there you go, you get the idea. I've got to do that right the way along this. There you go, that's that. Back tacked along there. We'll put some foam along the bottom edge and along the uprights. The two centre uprights anyway. I'm not going to put any foam along the sides because I've got to put the back tacking strip along there, or the metal claw, which you've seen me use before. So let's just put some of this along the bottom edge. The sofa originally just had a bit of very thin Lux Bond along here, so we're actually improving that. Along the uprights. I'll just go and get the claw for the sides, or the ends, whatever you want to call it, these edges. Right, some of you I've no doubt will have seen these before. This is the metal claw with a sheath on it that I will break down to size, but actually I don't need to do that. They will do as their stock length. So first of all, pull the fabric over and we get the lines in the centre before I do anything else. Gentle pull. I need to try and keep these uniform or horizontal best I can. Horizontal and vertical actually, I need to try and do, but yeah. So I can use the line as my guide to make sure that I'm putting the same tension in it. This here is the join. Hopefully you can just about see that picture. Okay. Start with the nearest one to the camera. I'll try and do this without blocking the camera if I can. It's a bit awkward. So position it keep this uniform if I can, but it's not the easiest to work with this fabric. It's a very loose weave fabric, very open weave, so it doesn't take much at all to get the lines to deviate. Albeit this is going up against the wall, I'm probably never going to get looked at. I know that it's not right, and I would never take it for granted that the sofa is going to stay up against the wall. So let's get that rolled over. Okay. And we'll tap this in, trying to strike it on the teeth, tangs. Oh, I don't know what the correct term for them is. Hopefully it will hold, because it's going into end grain in some places of the MDF, which is not ideal, but it seems to be gripping okay. Okay, that's gone in better than I expected, considering that's end grain of MDF. Right, to the other end of the sofa we go. So we'll just give this a little tug, try and straighten it out a bit. And the same process again. Trying to keep the lines even, or if they do deviate, it needs to be a nice natural curve. Don't want it looking wavy. So that's the outside back done. So I need to turn the sofa over and attach the facings. But before I attach the facings, I've got to cover the facings. So I'll spin you round. So you can see that the facings originally had piping round them as well. To be honest with you, two minds to put the piping on it. This is a far thicker fabric than what was on the sofa originally. Personally, I think the piping is going to look bulky, and B, you're not really going to notice it that much. So, but the sofa did have the piping on it. I'm going to pipe the cushions, that's not in question, so I think I will put the piping back on the facings, just so I don't have that question arise from the customer if they do notice the piping missing, bearing in mind they're used to their sofa having had the piping on it. So just trimming the excess fabric off so that it's not getting in the way of the feet when they go on. And excuse me, I'll just salvage this piece of fabric here. Use that for some piping. So that's outside back on. So like I say, I'm going to get on with the facings. I'll spin you around. You can join me whilst I do one of the facings, and we'll put the facings on next. Okay, so on with the facings. I've done one already. It's on the sofa behind me. Here's the other facing. You can join me to put this one on. But first off, I need to put some cover on it. So we position so the fabric's on the same place on both facings. So as you can see here, it's probably easier on this side here. We've got this check cross, so I'm going for the centre of this in the centre at the top of the P up here. There it is. Okay. Using 3mm staples. They're the wrong ones in there. There's 6mm. We don't want to be using them. Once the piping's on, I'll have to go up to 6mm because the piping is quite thick and the 3mm won't work. So make sure the lines are nice and straight down here. So let's get this on and cut and trimmed. Doing these facings is really fiddly and time consuming for what they are. I think I'm not convinced about the piping on these ones. Sorry, the compressor's just kicked off. But like I say, I'm not convinced about putting the piping on this. I just think it's unnecessary, but the piping was on them originally, so we'll put the piping back on them. So that's the cover on. We'll get the piping on now. Change the staples. Got 6mm staples in now because we've got 3 layers of fabric and the cardboard. So as I'm putting the piping on, I'm making sure it hangs over the edge so it doesn't get concealed when it goes onto the facing itself. Otherwise it would have been a waste of time putting it on if I can't see it. So initially these facings had panel fasteners holding them on, but because of the thickness and loose weave on the fabric, we don't really need the panel fasteners. We're going to put a gimp or a nail right the way through the facing itself to go on the frame. So what I'm going to do now is just move the camera around so you can see what I'm doing on the frame itself. Get this stapled on or pinned on. It's probably a better way of putting it because they're not staples. Okay. So these pins will go straight through this fabric, won't damage it. And the facings go on nice and firm. They're not going to get picked off. Change my staples over. Need to cut the piping cord out of the piping again to reduce lumps and bumps, because on the corners here we've got the screw-in feet that are going to be attached, and if we have the piping in the piping cord, it creates a platform for the leg to sit on, which then becomes weak. So we cut that out and try and keep the fabric and everything underneath the foot to an absolute minimum. Right, give that a tap, flatten it off some more. Just examine the facing, check I'm happy with it, that we can't see the pins that have gone through the fabric. That's all good. Okay, so that's the facings on. That is the sofa done, all bar putting the bottom cloth on it. So I'll get the bottom cloth on it and on its feet, and I'll come back and show you the finished sofa, all bar the cushions. But like I said at the beginning, I'm waiting for the cushion fills to arrive, and I need to cut the covers. So that's my next job, is going to be sat on the sewing machine for a good few hours sewing up cushion covers. So I'll come back to you once they're all done and the cushions are in, get a picture of it for you. But that'll be it, so we'll be back soon with that. Okay, so sofa's done. You can see it behind me here. It looks very nice. It's got very thick cushions on the seat at the request of the customer, because I've done their wing chairs like it, so I think it just makes it easier for them to get in and out of. The back cushions are no longer sipped onto the frame, so they can be removed and washed and turned around if necessary, if they get damaged. Exactly the same as the seats. Not that they expect them to, but it's precautionary. So there you go. Let's have a look. All done for so I think they're going to be very pleased. I've got to drop that off tomorrow and get on with these dining chairs, which will be in the next video. So, as always, I hope you enjoy this video and maybe you've learnt something, maybe picked up some tips along the way. These aren't really meant to be instructional, but if you learn something, that's all great. It just shows you what's going on in the workshop currently. So for now, I'll say goodbye. Please like and subscribe. I enjoy reading your comments, and I will be getting on with these dining chairs. They'll be in the next one. So until then, thanks again for watching. Bye-bye. Stop video. Stop recording.